This is Dr. Carl Farinelli, and we're going to discuss the first three projects that you're going to do during the first half of the semester in the Fundamentals of Public School Administration and Supervision class here at Northeastern State University. Basically, you're taking three different problems, and you're going to take them through the steps of problem solving. One will be a student problem, another will be a teacher problem, and the third will be a curriculum problem. Now, if you are already involved in a problem-solving committee for any or all of those, you can certainly use the format that is used in your school. For example, with a student problem, if you're already on an IEP committee for a student, you could use that process and take us through the steps in your paper that is followed by that committee. But if you want a standard format, I'm going to take you through a simple one called Popeye, P-O-P-I-E. And so basically it stands for identifying the problem, analyzing the options, taking the best option or options and coming up with a plan, showing the implementation of that plan, how it will be done, and then how you will evaluate whether the plan was successful or not. So if you use the Popeye format, if you want to read more about it, you can find both a paper and a worksheet about the Popeye format in the Farinelli folder on the public iDrive. So if you are on campus, just go to My Computer, go to the iDrive, and the folders for the different professors are in alphabetical order. So you can either just scroll down to Farinelli, or after the iDrive in the identification box, you can just start typing in Farinelli, which is my last name without the I, and it'll scan down for you. And inside the Farinelli folder, there are a number of subfolders. One of them is called Popeye, and within that you'll find both the essay on Popeye and the worksheet. And so if you are going to use the Popeye format, then you would write a standard essay with a cover sheet in APA format. You would put your title on the first page and introduce what you're going to do, and then start using these 5 steps. For example, in identifying the problem, if you're looking at a student problem, you might talk about how you have identified the problems that the student is having. Is it test scores? Is it behavior? Is it attendance? All of the above. And so you can tell what evidence you're using for that. When you start looking at options, there's a number of ways that we look at options. Generally, we think of the needs assessment, the tools of needs assessment, so you could go out and look that up by putting in tools of needs assessment and seeing the different kinds of things you can do to find options. Obviously, the research, if you go to the library or to a library search engine like EBSCOhost or the ERIC search, you could put in the problem that you are trying to solve and see what kind of scholarly papers exist for that. You might do interviews. If it's a student problem you're dealing with, you might talk with other teachers or with the parents of the student, with administrators. Other kinds of information would be certainly looking out on the internet. So any of these outside information sources that you use, be sure to give them credit. Remember, the fine line between being a scholar and a plagiarist is that a scholar gives credit, a plagiarist does not. So as a graduate student, be very good about your scholarship and giving credit, both within the text of your paper and in the reference page at the end. When you're looking at a plan, one of the things about a plan is that you want to tell both the steps that the plan will follow and the time over which that plan will occur, the steps will occur. So you might want to look up a simple Gantt chart if you want to use a chart, both showing a chart of the steps and the time over which those steps will occur, and then writing a narrative of that chart in a paragraph or so. So there is also in the Farinelli folder on the iDrive, there is a paper in there on Gantt charts, and you can look that up also out on the internet. Implementing, when you go to implement it, you're going to talk about what resources you will need, things like the people that you'll need, the time, will it cost any additional money, will you need any materials, information that you'll need, space that you'll need. So you have the 7 classic resource variables. A good place to start looking at the resource variable list would be the curriculum improvement paper that you would also find in the Farinelli folder. And then finally, evaluation. There's both formative and summative evaluation. Formative evaluation would be how you're going to make sure all the steps are coming along as they should be. Will you have checklists or communication going on with other people? Will you be doing any kind of monitoring, things of that sort? And the summative assessment would be the final evaluation that you do to see if your plan worked. So this would be a simple 5-step format that you could use for the student problem that you deal with, the teacher problem, and the curriculum problem. But once again, let me emphasize, if your school already has a format that it follows, such as the IEP process for students, or a growth improvement plan for teachers, or if you're on a curriculum improvement committee for doing vertical and horizontal alignment, for example, you certainly can use the format that you're using in your district rather than following the Popeye format. So that is your choice.